What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Raw Trucking. I know it's been a while since I've been on. I have been dealing with a bunch of personal family stuff, but all that's done. Everything that I needed to do is done and over with now, so now I can finally move on with my life and get back to work. Of course, I've been working. I've just been busy. But some of y'all have reached out and, been concerned because you haven't seen me in a while, which, to be quite honest with you, is a weird feeling because I'm just a guy on YouTube. Barely. But just to know that, there's people out there that care, that's a pretty cool feeling. So those of y'all that reached out, I do appreciate it. I would like to say, anybody watching, if you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate a subscription, grow the channel. More than welcome to comment any questions or concerns you might have within the world today, no matter what it is. I'm just here to conversate. Anything that might have to do with trucking, anything like that. It's always good to build a conversation, especially with the audience. So, those of you that communicate, I appreciate it. I do read the comments. But yeah, join me on my quest, everybody. But today, I wanted to talk specifically about trucking, as this is a trucking channel. I wanted to talk about pretty much where are things going. Now, for those of you that don't remember or don't know, I have come, I left GP Transco. Well, I didn't necessarily leave, I was fired. But it was mutual on both ends, and if you want to get into that, you can go look at previous videos. But I ended up coming to this particular company with a buddy of mine, and our plan was to drive team. Well, he's no longer here. He decided to quit. That's on his own fruition. I'm still here. I don't really have a problem with this company. There are things that I don't really prefer about this company, but you'll have that with any company. No company's perfect. You just find what suits you best in the current situation and roll with it. And that's what I'm doing. But this company has a rental program. It's not a lease purchase, but it is a technical lease. And you can rent their trucks and their trailers. Basically be, a glorified independent contractor. You don't have the hassle of a lot of the normal things. You're still renting the truck. You're not trying to buy it. So it's got its benefits. That's the route that I was going to take. But gas prices just keep going up. And with this company, I see the rate cons because I'm making 30% of every load. The load grows. So I'm making 30% of that. So I see the rate cons. I see what they're getting paid. Now, if I was to go rental or lease, I would be making 85%, which is pretty good. But, technically I'm a company 1099 contractor. quite honest, I really am sick and tired of the trucking industry. There's no camaraderie in it. Shippers and receivers don't give a damn about you. They don't give a damn about your schedule. Most companies don't really give a damn about you either. It's their way or the highway. They don't care what you are giving up. It's all about their profit margin. Now, I'm a human being. If you want to buy electric trucks and make nothing but profit, go do it. I don't care. You know, I got a trucking LLC. It's not the only company that I own. But none of my businesses currently make it to where I'm fully working for myself. Now, my other company is basically a hobby that I turned into a business. It's steadily growing. I've been doing it for a few years. But I'm not able to just throw myself into it the way that I want to, simply because of the fact I've got to have another job to sustain myself. But with everything that I'm hearing, you know, I got friends that are doing lease purchases and they're making, you know, decent money. You know, they're making it. But it's getting to that step that I'm needing. And I see the world differently than others. I don't just back down and bend my knees. If you're going to treat me like shit, I'm going to do the same thing back to you. Which is why I've had a lot of trucking jobs. I work for a lot of different companies. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not going to be degraded as a human being. You're going to respect the time that I give you and compensate me accordingly for that quality of time that I'm giving you. You're going to respect me for it. I work my ass off for anybody as long as they respect me for what I'm doing. I might not be the best at what I do, but I'm out here doing it just like everybody else. You're going to show me the same respect, but I digress. With the way that the things are going these days, gas prices are going up, and Fortune 500 companies are taking pennies on the dollar for every load. And you got these independent contractors, owner-operators, doing it on their own, and they've got to make a buck to stay alive, to compete with these bigger companies, which I fully understand. But taking cheap loads are not going to make anything better for anybody, including yourself. So, at some point you got to draw a line. I'm not going to take anything below this because in reality I've got to make a profit to further my business to get where I want to go. Your goal in being an independent or whatever is to make a profit, to grow. It's not to make just enough to get by. You do that as a company employee anyway. Now, what I'm sick and tired of doing is making just enough to get by. Now, I'm making more money than I ever have at this place, but I still got to take my own taxes out. Now, I'm still working on that whole tax situation. in this whole tax situation that I've been talking about in previous episodes. So I'm slowly trying to open her eyes to the situation. I found more information than just the book. I would highly recommend everybody get that book, including Body Science. But I've also found information that corresponds with that book that delves into court cases about failure to file income tax and stuff like that. And these are cases that have won. So I'm delving into that right now. So it's important for everybody to do their own research. But with the way things are going, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into it or not. You know, I don't want to sound doubtful. I just want to be realistic. You know, I don't want to make this political or not. I'm not a Trump guy. Wasn't really ever. But I will say that things under Trump were a lot better than they are now. At least we had energy independence. We weren't relying on other people for our own oil. We make a lot of oil in this country. And we became the #1 exporter of oil in the world. We weren't buying other countries' oil because we had enough to sustain ourselves. Which, the domino effect was, our fuel prices went down. Which, I don't know if it's correct or not, but as far back as I can remember, fuel prices started going really high during Obama. I don't remember a lot of things from the Bush administration. I was born in the Bill Clinton administration. But why not make ourselves energy independent? Well, that's because, you know, people like Joe Biden, who's a puppet, he wants to be an empty suit so that the others behind the curtain are trying to progress this energy, you know, battery energy, wind energy, which sucks. Solar energy's good, but it's nowhere near what it needs to be sustainable. I mean, even coal sucks. You gotta burn a lot of coal to get a little bit of energy. So, for at least right now, there is no alternative for fuel, especially when you need to go a long distance. Well, that hurts the trucking industry. And what hurts the trucking industry hurts private interest. Because the everyday mom and pop who need to go to the grocery store, and you know, I'm a truck driver, but I still gotta go to the grocery store and buy food. I feel the hurt that comes out of the needs that we meet, which is higher paying loads. But we also feel that at the grocery store. We feel that at the fuel pumps. Because you also got to transport fuel. So the costs keep adding up. Plus you got inflation. But what irks me is that the government keeps trying to fight inflation. But how do you get inflation? Well, you get inflation by borrowing more money out of the Federal Reserve, which is a private bank. They don't give a damn which way it goes because you're using their services, which costs money. Now, how does the Federal Reserve make money? Well, they get cotton paper that's worthless, like 4 cents. They print an image on it and call it currency. And the Treasury Department borrows that at an interest rate that you can no longer pay back. So, for example, if I was to go borrow $1 from anybody, that dollar has a set price. But then they tell me that I owe interest on that dollar. I've got to pay back that interest. Well, the money that I borrow is now the currency. There's nothing else except for precious metals like gold, silver, platinum, stuff like that. I've got to give them back what is theirs and then pay an interest of what is mine back to them for the borrowed for borrowing what was incurred on the borrow. So put that into a government perspective. How do you pay back interest when the currency is the interest? You pay them in gold, silver, and platinum. You pay them back in precious metals, which devalues our worth. They make money on it, and all they want you to do is keep borrowing. Now, how does the government pay back interest today? They pay it back on income taxes. When you pay a tax to the government, and I'm getting way off subject, but I gotta drill this in. When you pay a tax to the government, you are getting a what is the word? You're getting a service back. So when you pay a property tax that goes to schools, it goes to the fire department, you're getting a service back. A tax is a government service. You pay the government for the service that they provide. Now when you pay an income tax, the government, they're not supposed to just incur taxes willy-nilly on anything. You cannot tax yourself into prosperity. You can only tax yourself into ruin. Roman Empire. Come on, people. So anyway, when you pay an income tax, that tax only it goes nowhere else but to pay the interest on the money borrowed out of the Federal Reserve. But they only pay the interest. Now, anybody that's ever had a loan, I've got loans. You pay the interest and you pay the principal. Now, you pay more interest than you do the principal, which is why, when you buy a house, you buy a 30-year mortgage. I'm paying that right now on my house. My house cost me like $65,000. With interest included, by the time I pay it off, I will have paid $120,000 for that house. Pisses me off. That's why I want to pay my house off as quick as possible. The government is not interested in paying the interest off as quick as possible. There's only been one president that ever accomplished that and wiped the slate clean with money that we owed. That was Andrew Jackson. He did that with land sales and I want to say tariffs, but I don't think it's tariffs. I'm drawing a blank right now. Basically like imports and exports. Anyway, so the government is not interested on paying the interest off. They only want to keep the interest paid. Now, what would be the benefit of only paying the interest but not the principal? If you pay the interest in good standing, you can borrow more. The Federal Reserve is a private bank. It is owned privately. It's not a government entity. If it was, then the government could just print willy-nilly and say, well, this is our currency. But it's not. It's borrowed from a private bank. So your income taxes borrowed, that the government borrows out of the Federal Reserve. So, how do you fight inflation? Well, first off, how do you get inflation? You pump more money into the economy, devaluing the dollar, because if you have more of something, it's not worth as much. Which is why when you buy antiques, a real antique is worth a lot of money because it's old, there's not a lot of them around, it's valued higher. It's like a one-off. You know, a one-off would be the most expensive of that thing because there's only one of them. When you pump money into the economy, you're devaluing the currency. Well, who gets to do that? The government does. The Treasury does it. The Treasury gets to pump the economy full of money, and then everybody gets pissed off because their money isn't worth as much, and prices go up. And then the government turns around and says, we need to fight inflation. But yet they keep borrowing more money. The only way you can fight inflation is to get rid of the Fed. But that'll probably never happen. At least probably not in my lifetime. So, if you ever need a reason to not trust the government, there you go. We need to do this for the people, but turn their backs on you and continue to do what they've been doing. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a dumb old truck driver, private citizen, public education, high school diploma. You know, just whatever. But how has inflation affected the trucking industry? Well, if anybody right now has been trying to buy a truck, used trucks have skyrocketed. New trucks have skyrocketed. Trailers have skyrocketed. It costs you more now to get into the trucking industry independently. So that just leaves me with, I don't know really what to do. I just might stay where I'm at and make enough money to go do something else. I don't know. I would love to get into welding. Particularly metal fabrication. I've got a lot of interest in a lot of different things. Basically, I want to be a trick of all trades. You know, I want to be able to do it all for myself, by myself. I'm one of those people, I don't want to be going out and paying somebody else a lot of money for their service when I could learn it and do it myself. You know, that's my way of thinking. You know, complete and total independence. But I don't know. I'm 30 years old. I make good money. I got a lot of ambitions that require a lot of money, including owning my own truck. Because if I was to own my own truck and not have to pay income tax, because I know the legality of income tax, I would make a lot of money. Now you still got to pay, you know, road use tax and all that crap, which is a $22.90. But I mean, that's still not anything. Money is property. If you accumulate money, you're accumulating property. So that's the way you got to get your mind set on that. When you work for somebody, it's a contractual agreement. The Supreme Court says you can make unlimited contractual agreements between two parties. All of those Supreme Court cases are in Income Tax Shattered Myths. You're not earning a wage working for somebody. You're earning compensation for time given on a job working for somebody. Legally, you're not an employee. Only government officials are employees. legally you're not making a wage. Only government employees make a wage, which is in turn supposed to be paid in income tax. Which, I'll say something else political. When 2016 presidential debates were coming about, and everybody was all up in arms about Trump's income tax, and Hillary Clinton was talking about, well, I've shown my income taxes. Well, you're a government employee. You're supposed to be paying that. Trump was a private citizen. He was not supposed to be paying income tax. And if he paid as little as possible, great. Everybody should be trying to pay as little as possible, preferably nothing at all if it is not applicable to you. So, that's just a stupid argument. But anyway, I stand to make a lot of money in the trucking industry, being that I've been in it for 6 years. And I know the industry. I don't know everything about it, but I know enough to make money off of it. But if we got 4 more years of this crap to look forward to, I don't know what I'm going to do. So basically, that's what I've been doing in my hiatus. I've been, personal stuff. I've been trying to get all that stuff dealt with. And I've been dealing with it for 5 months. Stuff with my dad. Mom's kind of included in there also. But I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of stuff about my personal life. Everything's dealt with. So, I've been dealing with that. Been trying to figure out, what kind of path am I going to take? What makes sense? And, just because if this doesn't happen to work out for me, does not mean the world's going to end. Situations change. If you're going to be a good business owner, the business model, you need to change with the times. This would have worked out great for me if I was able to get into it a couple of years ago. But if things change and they don't, well, I've got a lot of interest in other places. I'm not opposed to leaving the trucking industry. I like trucking. I hate the industry. But I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens down the road. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, oh well. I'm not going to cry about it. Things change. If you're not willing to change with them. Now there's a lot of things I'm principled on that I will not change. But to make money, to flow with the times, to make money, the goal is to be profitable at all times. So sometimes you got to change with that. Sometimes you have to change the direction completely. So I don't know. That's just my take. That's what I've been up to. Those of y'all that have been interested, leave me a comment down below if there's anything you want to hear me talk about. Give me some ideas on stuff. I'm a pretty quiet person in reality. I think a lot, but I keep my opinions to myself most of the time. But if you got anything out there that you're interested in hearing me talk about, leave me a comment. But until next time, guys, y'all stay safe out there. We'll holler at you later.